treat yourself. You know you should go treat yourself.
I say, treat yourself.
Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Treat Yourself, hosted by me, Jim Murray. Treat Yourself. This is going to be a web series that's come to fruition as an itch I felt like I needed to scratch. Because as any of you who follow me on Twitter know, I'm constantly on there yammering on about what I like to stuff my face with, and I like giving you guys recommendations about places that I've been to that I think that you'd enjoy as much as I do. And you keep asking me anyway. But more importantly, I believe that you gotta treat yourself. It's something I feel like we don't do nearly enough in our lives. And I feel like it's more important than ever, too. Because if you think about it, these are kind of angry, shitty times we're living in nowadays. Where you could walk into work one day and find yourself shut up by some kook coworker who's angry at the world for whatever the hell dumb reason. So with that, coupled with my own personal ethos, courtesy of the band Kiss and their great song Lick It Up, it ain't a crime to be good to yourself. I want to make sure that you're treating yourself the way I like to treat myself, that you're spending your hard-earned money on the good shit, that you're going to want to try again and again, and that you're going to want to tell all your friends about. From food and restaurants, to booze, bars, travel, weed, cigars, anything that can help you enjoy your time a little bit more here around Boston and beyond. I want to use this little show as a guide to help make sure you're treating yourself to the very best the world has to offer. Oh, and one more thing. Unlike many other shows like this, whether on TV, web series, podcasts, wherever, and you know which ones I'm talking about, Treat Yourself is going to be 100% incorruptible. In other words, if your restaurant sucks and you want to pay me to be on the take to say that your restaurant is actually great, it's not going to happen. I have too much respect for the dollar. It's as simple as this, gang. I like the good shit. I want you to know about the good shit that I like, so you'll go try the good shit. And with that, let's get into episode number 1 of Treat Yourself, shall we? Where to eat and drink when you're heading into TD Garden.
The Bruins and Celtics seasons are going strong. Concerts and events, they run at TD Garden year-round. And I feel like I shouldn't have to tell you this. If you're heading into the arena, don't fill up on overpriced concessions. Treat yourself to a nice meal and a few drinks before you head in at any of these following spots that I love that are just a short walk from the garden. So my usual go-to for a solid meal, ice-cold Coors Lights, and maybe a couple of pickleback shots if I'm feeling it before a game or show, is Porter's Bar and Grill, located at 173 Portland Street. Porter's, it's a no-nonsense bar, bunch of beers on tap, great service, and quality pub grub. I've never had a bad meal here. The wings, they're meaty, delicious. The burgers, the steak tips, they're never going to let you down. Fair warning about Porter's, or really any of these places I'm going to be mentioning on here. They all get crazy busy before an event. So try to get there early if you want a seat. Otherwise, expect to wait. A little further up Portland Street, you're going to find West End Johnny's. You've probably seen the commercials while watching a Red Sox game or a Bruins game. The place is enormous. They got 2 floors. It's packed with tons of old school sports and Boston memorabilia, which is kind of cool. And if you're a fellow old like I am and you remember the good old days of the Combat Zone, West End Johnny's is worth going into alone just to see the old Naked Eye sign. Ah, yes, the warm glow of electric sex. But beyond the sleazy nostalgia, the real reason to stop into West End Johnny's are their spicy honey wings. Now, they sound unassuming enough. I mean, they're just listed under appetizers on their menu as grilled wings topped with a house-made spicy honey mustard glaze. Honestly, they should just be described as, holy shit, these things are unbelievable. I don't know what's going on with the spicy honey mustard glaze. I definitely detect like a hint of that sinus-clearing hot mustard that you get with Chinese food. But whatever they're made with, they're incredible. Honestly, I think they're the second best wings around in my opinion, only behind Buff's and Newton. Now obviously nothing touches Buff's, but these things, they're that good. There's just one small complaint I have about them though. The portion's too small. These spicy honey wings, they're too tasty to share, and you're going to want to stick a fork through anyone else's hand that tries to grab one. So what I would recommend that you do is grab 2 orders of them right from the jump. I don't know of a more old-school feeling sports bar/restaurant in town than the Fours, which of course is an institution. But then again, I still know of people that have never been there, which is crazy. Either way, they're located at 166 Canal Street, and much like West End Johnny's, there's sports memorabilia covering the walls. But the Fours, You've got burly bartenders wearing ties, and they got polished wood and brick throughout. I love the atmosphere at the Fours. It feels like what Cheers sort of looked like on TV, you know? And I've been going here my whole life. I'll always love the Fours. Now, is their food life-changing? No. It's your basic pub grub. But the portions, solid. Never had a bad meal here. That Reuben named for Ray Bork, that's a winner. The crab cakes, a usual go-to for me. And if it's deep into the winter and you really want to warm up, you can't go wrong with their homemade clam chowder. It's the balls. They got quality steak tips, good burgers, big menu, friendly bartenders. You can never ever go wrong with the Fours. Now, you want to get a little bit fancy, one of the newer spots to the area and just a little further away from the Garden, but totally worth going to, especially if you're looking for a place that has exceptional craft cocktails, is Ward 8. Ward 8 is over at 90 North Washington Street, which, I get it, it's a little bit more north end than the Garden area, but it's not that far away, you lazy son of a bitch. So unlike some of these previous places I mentioned, Ward 8, they take reservations, which you'll obviously want to do if you're going to be making your evening more of like a date night type thing. It's a younger, hipper spot that's worth going to for the drinks alone. Ward 8, it's the type of place that's got bartenders that can make you whatever you want, including my favorite, the basic but extremely easy to screw up Sazerac, my favorite drink of all time. Anytime I've had one here, it's nailed. Now, in regard to the food, the portions could be bigger, but in terms of quality, Ward 8 delivers. I'd recommend the fried pork ribs, the pork buns, anything from their raw bar, or the seared tuna sandwich, which is usually my go-to. But above all else, Ward 8 is where you're going to want to go if you want like a sexier feel to start your night. It's where I would recommend you go before a concert at the Garden, more than, getting your shine on before a Bruins game and you want to yell at the players. Finally, if you're in a rush and you don't have any time to have a proper meal, you can always run in and grab a slice and a few light beers and a plastic cup of the old reliable halftime pizza right across from the Garden. Again, another institution like the Fours, and I still know of people that have said, oh no, I've never been there. Like, what? How? It's basically the same place it's been since I was a kid, and that's a good thing. They get big, greasy, tasty slices of cheese or pepperoni that are always ready to go on a paper plate. You get one or two, fold them up, eat them while you're walking in, or have a seat and scarf them down in one of the many booths inside halftime. And if you don't take my word for it, listen to this guy.
Goodbye. This is a place you come every day before a Bruins game or a Celtics game because slices aren't $11. You get a beer, get a good piece of pie, and there's no bullshit. Everybody's here for the same reason.
He absolutely nailed it. Halftime is what it is, and that's a good thing. I've loved halftime forever. And my hope is, as the area around the Garden becomes more gentrified, they're not going to be priced out of the neighborhood. To me, they're a Boston legend, and they're always going to be worth stopping into either before or after a game to treat yourself. Speaking of Boston legends, Sullivan's Tap, it's reopened. Oh, I love dive bars so much, and this one might be one of the diviest in the city, and I hope that it never goes away. Stop in here if you you want that dive bar ambiance and a couple of ice-cold beers before you go in. Can't go wrong at Sullivan's. And I quickly want to mention two places right at the end of Hanover Street in the North End. Coming up on Treat Yourself, I'll have a more North End-centric show, but if you're looking for a great steak, like high-quality steak, then go into Brico. Top quality meats, great bar as well, and they also make the city's best espresso martini, hands down, nobody comes close. And right across the street, you also have Luca, which has a fantastic menu, but it's more about the bar scene there. If my man Casey is working, red hair, very friendly, tell him I sent you. He'll take care of you. That's going to do it. If you've just watched this and you're like, well, wait a minute, why didn't you mention so-and-so a place? It's not because I forgot about it. It's because I think the place sucks, and you don't want to spend your money there, Tavern in the Square. Thanks for checking out the first episode. If you liked it, there's going to be more to come in the near future, and if you could be so kind, please send this link to any of your friends who might be interested in checking it out, and please share it on your socials. Oh, and leave feedback below as well. Till next time, this is Jim Murray, reminding you, life's too short, people, so treat yourself.